Great pleasure to welcome Vicky Pryce, the international economist and business consultant. Vicky, what's your assessment of these past 5 years?
Well, what we do know is that the population has not seen any great sort of advantage of having left the EU. In fact, the recent opinion poll suggests that the majority think that it was a mistake, and quite a lot of them would like us to go back in. The real problem, of course, and they're sensing it, is that the economy hasn't really done particularly well. Businesses know that they've lost out in terms of trade to the EU. We've seen the trade intensity of the UK go down when it's gone up since COVID, in particular in other countries. So we've been left behind, and that's a real issue. And businesses have not invested anything like as much as they should have done since the Brexit vote. A lot of uncertainty for a number of years about exactly how we're going to leave, what it was all going to mean. And we are seeing that in terms of productivity and longer-term growth.
The UK Labour government says it wants to reset the relationship with the European Union. What does that look like? What does that mean? What might it mean?
For the moment, it's quite limited. It just means we'd like to cooperate in various areas. I mean, remember, we have actually rejoined the Horizon programme, so at least our scientists and academics can now work more closely. Again, we're paying something in, about $2.5 billion a year to be members of that, but traditionally we've received a lot of benefits as well because more money is being paid to us because we have some very, very good universities. So we've rejoined that. We're talking about having a lot closer relationships on the defence side, which of course is very important right now given the geopolitics that Europe is going through. Other stuff, though, is more limited. It's got to do with trade, how you can facilitate trade, given that there are restrictions there right now, partly because of regulatory requirements, no tariffs on goods, and yet you have to produce all sorts of papers to show, where did the bits that have gone into your production come from, so the rules of origin, you've got regulations in terms of, and you need to prove it, in terms of both importing and exporting agricultural products, animal products. So that's been pretty bad for many small and medium-sized enterprises. They've just stopped doing anything with Europe, and if that is the case, if there is less trade, less competition, then you end up with less productivity too. So if you can fix some of those things, you can move a certain way, but actually you need an awful lot more. And one hopes, against hope perhaps, that when the trade and cooperation agreement is redone in 2026, we begin to negotiate it now, we need to renegotiate it. There could be something more, including movement of people. I think that would be so important.
I mean, the calls to rejoin the EU have never really gone away, have they? I mean, is that realistic?
It's going to take some time, but there are already calls, of course, on rejoining in a partial way. There are a number of countries that have either customs agreements with the EU, or they're in the single market. Of course, Labour has come to power, the current government saying no single market, no customs union, which is pretty limiting. But you can play around with it and be part of it. I mean, look at Switzerland. It's not really a member of anything, really, and yet it allows free movement, it abides by all the regulations, because it knows it needs to. So probably then, I think, that we'll join through the back door, if you like. Hope no one notices, and then carry on.
Vicky, good to see you. Thank you very much for coming to see us. Vicky Pryce, the international economist and business consultant. Thank you.
Thank you.